we were able to find that children who had a better understanding of mental states at age 5 were exhibiting more cooperative behavior at age 6, and this is what was rated by the children's classroom teachers. So a real connection between how children make sense of the mind, understand the mental world, and how they're actually behaving in the classroom at school. And in turn, how they're behaving in the classroom at school at age 6 predicted the qualities of the children's peer relationships at age 7, how other children responded to them, whether they accepted them or rejected them as a peer group member. Now, the social and emotional development of children at school does not just exist in a silo. It's intimately connected with how they're getting on academically as well. We've been able to demonstrate this explicitly in our work. In a study we published a couple of years ago, we were able to show that children's understanding of mental states at age 5 not only predicted their social relationships at age 7, not only predicted where they are on the sociogram at age 7, but also had a connection with how the children were getting on academically as well. We tested children's literacy and numeracy at age 8, and we found a predictive pattern. Children who had a greater empathic insight into mental states at age 5 experienced less peer rejection at age 7, and that in turn predicted better achievement at age 8 on the literacy and numeracy tests. And when you think about it, it's not really rocket science. This is about getting on at school. And the academic context of learning is not something that is entirely separate from the social and emotional context of learning. We're in a classroom which is a deeply social place, working often in large groups and in small groups with other children. And so our emotional experience is of course going to be connected with our achievement outcomes. Is there anything we can do about children's empathic insight into mental states? Can we actually change it? Can we promote empathy in children and young people? Research suggests that we can. And one of the key things that might make a difference here is the simple but powerful experience of talk. Having conversations about stories may be a really crucial foundation for building children and young people's empathy. I'll give you one example. We've been doing work, again, this is part of my collaboration with my colleagues in Italy. We've been doing a program of work focused on how conversations can build social understanding. In this study, we had 91 children aged 9 to 10 years who we randomly allocated into different conditions. One experimental condition where we had conversations about stories that involved powerful discussions of mental states. The control group, which included the other children, took part in conversations as well, but they were not focused on stories regarding what different characters were feeling or thinking. The stories in the experimental condition were focused on things such as misunderstanding, irony, sarcasm, deception, double bluff, or faux pas. Those situations where you might unintentionally insult someone, putting your foot into it because you didn't know something crucial about what that other person was thinking or feeling. Those stories turned out to be incredibly rich opportunities to build empathy. And we've been able to show this in our data. Children started off from the two groups, the experimental theory of mind group and the other control group, exactly equivalent in their scores on a test of theory of mind. But through the conversations about stories involving attention to what characters are thinking, what characters are feeling, we were able to show that theory of mind scores could be increased. This was found immediately after the intervention, involving multiple lessons where we talked about the stories, but it was carried through to a follow-up period 2 months later. So the children started off with equivalent scores on theory of mind because they were just randomly allocated to the two groups. But after experiencing discussions of stories where they had the opportunity to explore what characters were thinking, what characters were feeling, why characters behaved in the way that they did, through exploring those things with each other, empathic insight into mental states could be facilitated, fostered, and nurtured. In this way, we're beginning to feel confident about how conversations about stories can be a crucial foundation for building empathy.